Guys, thanks for coming. I'm Jason Weaver, receivers coach, special teams coordinator, laundry coordinator, and coaching psychologist over the years. I've kind of catch all. I've coached running backs for Kenny, outside linebackers for Kenny, D-backs, receivers. I work with the quarterbacks a lot. Now I'm a flex guy, kind of cover on defense where he needs somebody to fill in. He does allow me, I do pretty much all the special teams, and I'm doing that today. I won't bore you with it, but that's something that has helped us win some games because he does dedicate a lot of time, and I don't have to worry anything about defense. I don't coach both sides. I help with offense. And honestly, I don't do a whole lot of that. I don't need to scheme stuff because Kenny schemes enough for 5 people. So I coach the kids' techniques, and I spend the vast majority of my time, research time, film time, trying to find a weakness on defense that we can exploit because we're always playing against better athletes. Same thing with our receivers. I very rarely will have the best athlete in the field. Never exactly have the best athlete in the field. Usually the matchup we have, the guy across from us is going to be better than us or as good. So we do some things. He does some things scheme-wise. I do some things hopefully to help the kids be as good as they can be. And so that gets into our philosophy. Get the most of every player. Max men, because we don't have the talent. Know your players. Coach every one of them differently. When Carol was in there, I'm reading off the slides here. Your young ones, you need to coach them. Do I spend a lot of time on my young ones in season? No, they're usually the guys who are the defensive scout players for us and our girls. Off season, summertime, we work those kids just like technique, pound their butt, just like we do the starters. Probably a lot where y'all are from. A lot of our kids need me and need this football program a whole lot more than we need them. So we do love on them. Yeah, that's tough for me. I tell my kids in my classes, I'm a negative person. Probably a lot of you by nature, we're coaches, we're a negative person. We're taught to find the bad stuff and fix it. It's tough for me to be positive with these kids. And don't get me wrong, you can ask Coach Couch, I'm the guy who's going to jump all over their butt. Especially about the second time you busted a drill and you watch 6 guys in front of you. Most famous coach we were studying, take it instead of throwing the ball, I'll punt it and say, bear crawl and get it, I'm not wasting my arm on you. So that's a most famous quote. Learned over the years, I may still flip out on that kid and do that. I want to go hug him and love him before he leaves that day. 100%, I want to go do that to that kid. So we talk about drills, and Kenny's talked a lot of stuff about you. I'll answer any questions, tell you some of the stuff we do. Part of the best thing I've learned is I make up a drill to fix what I need to fix. There's a million drills out there. We'll get to some of that stuff in a minute. But we can drill and improve our kids, but maximizing and minimizing their strengths and weaknesses, that's a big part of what he can do scheme-wise, and what I can do, communicate with him, what's coming up, what are you looking at, and a lot of it goes to being with him for 12 years, and I kind of know what he's thinking, package kids, but we do a lot of that kind of thing to get the best out of our kids. Treating kids fairly, that's not treating the same. I do not treat every kid the same. From the sophomore to the senior, good example, kid and we all have ours. Coach Couch has his kids that he has to just love on. He's got his kid. For the best example of that, a sophomore we had to play receiver for us. He was 6'1", about 195. One of the best athletes we had. Dude he was an offensive player. I'm being recorded. He's an offensive player, offensive mindset. Good skills. He didn't know he was a dude. I loved on him for 2 years. His senior year, I come back from my summer job, fireworks building, and I asked Coach Couch, where's he at? He said, oh, he's not playing defense anymore. He doesn't want to. The kid was 6'2", 205, one of the best athletes we had. He was 4'6".
Yeah.
I pulled him aside and I said, you can be our punter. He's probably the only D1 kid we ever had. He was a D1 punter, decided he won't kick. You can be our punter, you can be our backup player, our possession receiver, or you can go to the outside linebacker and get Duke. He was all-state. He was probably the best outside linebacker we ever had. Literally, but for 2 years, I love that kid. I hammered his butt every day. Man up, go knock the hell out of somebody. So that's kind of a long, that's not receivers yet. You don't treat them all the same. How was I able to shame that kid and hammer him every day in the senior? Because I loved him for 2 years. So that goes back to that point. Some need confidence, some need humble, some need encouragement. You got to know those kids. Love on them all. Make sure when they leave, they know that you do care about them, especially if it's a coach's kid. Don't be, some of you are my age, don't be coach at home. Coach Simpson's son just walked in here. There's a lot of perks that go along with being a coach's kid. There's a lot of weight that comes on it. A lot of perks for our staff. When my son was here, we knew everything going on in the locker room, and he could take care of things that we couldn't take care of. Kenny's son's there. He can take care of things. He can say things can get done that coaches just can't do. That puts a lot of weight on those kids. So usually, I know my son had his guy he went to. Coach Simpson's got son. He's got his guy he goes to. Be sure and love on, especially those coaches' kids. What we look for? Kenny's talked about it a little bit. The split in the X. You know, we would love to have a tall, fast kid with great hands who's physical and loves to block. We don't get that. We don't get that. We usually get the real world. This year we had a series starter filler. Our best sophomore kid, he knew exactly what to do. He had an offensive mindset, wasn't overly aggressive, but he wasn't going to get a mistake when I started the series with him. He wasn't going to jump off sides. He wasn't going to hold. He would get in the way. He wouldn't get a great block, but he would get in the way. But that let my safeties and my corners, who are our real X's, that let them go to the special teams guy, you get that special teams fixed, take a 5-minute break or a 2-minute break, go to the defensive guy, see him for just a second, and get back in there and get into a rotation. That kid never plays in the red zone. He never plays in the red zone. We have all to do that. Possession receiver blocker, we package this a lot. At X, what we love in the red zone is to be able to put 2 big possession receivers, one at A and one at X. We'll get to A in a minute. We love that down there because it lets us do a lot of things. 2 years ago we had those kids. We did a lot of that. This year we did not because our A needed to be on the field the whole time and he was a threat, so we didn't personnel that as much. 2 years ago we had the deep threat. Didn't have very good hips. He was fast. He had never played defense, so they didn't steal him from me. He was special teams X. He was only one of the few 4-4 kids we've had here. Didn't have great hands. So he could catch the post, he could catch the go. He had 4 or 5 touchdowns the whole year, but they had to honor him. He could run the curl, and our quarterback could throw it his belly. So those are the 3 kids we get at X. And we loved having a good X, possession X. This year, it was, for the most part, it was a true personnel thing, depending on what Kenny was going to do. If we needed to throw the X, he had to let me know, because I had to get the right kid in there, because they were all playing defense all the time. By the way, stop at any point in time to get questions, because I talk a little fast sometimes. But that's kind of what we look for X. This year, we didn't throw the X very much. Next year, we will probably have to, because our quarterback is not going to be as much a runner. So we're going to have to do more in the passing game next year. 1 year back, we did throw the X a lot more. 2 years back, we threw the X a lot more. It just depends on our kids. That's what's great about this system, is you can make it work. Our leading receiver was an A this year because he was really our only deep threat at all. The slot. Love to have an unselfish, fast, strong running back with great hands. There again, we don't get that very often. Sometimes we do. The 3 we usually look at, the running back, not great at routes, but he can run the wheels, the choice routes, the deep out, or the smoke route that we call it, the bubbles and springs. That's kind of what we had this year. He was a scat back. The same kid his sophomore year, we never threw him the ball at A. He was only in there to run jet, to either take the handoff or fake the handoff because he was quick and athletic. That kid could not catch. In 2 years, I had him enough, worked him with enough, and we figured out what he could catch. This kid this year, you saw us, we widened him out and we stacked him. He could catch a screen if it was a long, right at him screen. He could catch the fast at A, but he couldn't, a bubble was an issue for him. He couldn't square around and catch a bubble close to the quarterback. He could catch the bubble if we did arc him on a true bubble. The problem with that is this year our quarterback couldn't throw that. Last year, the quarterback could throw arcs, so he put the A in the middle. So it's just different. A lot of times we would package. We'll put a possession receiver, big receiver in an A, and we will slide him down in our tight set. Or if we want to run a true passing down, and we do this a lot more if we have a speed kid at X. 2 years ago, we had a speed kid, so we ran a lot of the kid I'm talking about that Shane didn't play an outside linebacker. He was 6'2". We would play him at A in a lot of true passing situations, and we use the A as a possession receiver that year. So it just depends on what you got. True receiver, not a running back option, not a great blocker. Sometimes we are forced to do that, and that's usually when we're having to throw the ball a lot more. Last few years we don't have to do that. But that's kind of how we personnel the slot guy, the A. He's been more of a running back late for us than anything else. But we do in the red zone a lot of time we will get the more traditional, the blocking possession guy down there, especially on a rub play. Our slot, the A this year, if we were running rub or anything out there, he did not do it because he couldn't pick anybody for anything. Okay, so we would personnel that play, and we'd have 2 or 3 things that we could do with that same personnel down there. Everyday drills. Coming from Franklin, Kenny ran Franklin, first met here. I love a lot of this stuff. That's great if you've got an hour and a half to spend on offense, and I get 30 minutes a day for drills. I usually get 5 minutes in season. I'll get 5 minutes of individual time. Pretty much all I get is 5 minutes of just me and the receivers. His tight ends come sometime. I'll get 5 minutes of ball drill. Sometimes we'll get 5, we'll get 10. We'll mix some blocking in there if we do that. I'll usually take my ball drill first, then we'll do blocking. And blocking for us is honestly, it's a mental, it's a think, it's a slow jog through period, more of where, when, how to be, not very physical. And then we run our routes in the pods typically. The clock on the move, I came up with it. This is the one you saw in the field. I didn't do a very good job explaining that yesterday because I had to be quarterback too, because the only receiver I had was our quarterback to work with. What we're looking for there, in 5 minutes, I can get multiple looks, 1 to 2 catches from multiple looks with that drill. And what we do with that, I'm looking to get the high-low, an over-the-shoulder, a back shoulder high point, an out-in look, and I just move myself to give them the look that they need. Or if you have a JV quarterback, great, it saves an old guy's shoulders sometimes. But I just move myself. I can move quicker than they can to give us that look. The slant post, if we throw our 40, and we threw this in a little bit later, we start off with a straight line yesterday like I installed it with junior high kids. Throw on a squared in look, I get right 90-degree angle where they're catching like this, the dig route. If I want the slant look, I'll get a 45-degree angle. I'm throwing that angle to them for the post or for the crap corner. The outlook I'll get where they're getting that look. It's quicker to me to move me, and in 5 minutes we can usually go left and right. Usually one day we'll go 45-degree cuts, one day we'll go 90-degree cuts. Sometimes we'll go straight line catch, depending on who I have down there. But honestly, if I have to be gone for some reason, Coach Captain go run it because the kids know it. And all he's got to do is throw it. When we first started out with this drill, we'll do low, or then we'll do that. We'll do all of them back to back the same. Once they get the rhythm of it, I'll mix it up. Okay, I won't throw it one after the other. I want them cheating the drill. I'll throw one guy the high point, next guy I'll throw over the shoulder, next guy I'll throw the low ball, the high ball. So I'll mix it up once they get the hang of it. We do this about every day. Yesterday you saw a tight end come in and do it. Womack, he played D lineman. He knew the drill. Even those freshmen do it a little bit because they do it some down there. Our junior high's got 3 coaches. They're doing good to learn 2 routes. And that's one of the things I have to play catch up because we don't know at junior high. Hardly ever know at junior high. And if we do, it's they're catching their ability or whatever else. So those freshmen have to play catch up. But this, once they get it, I can, in 5 minutes, I can get a lot of good looks. And this drill also helps me figure out what can't that kid catch. And sometimes I tell the quarterback, okay, you've got to hit him right here. Some kids, when we have one kid, you can't hit him right here. He can't catch a perfect ball. You can be high, you can be low down, you can't put him right here. He can't catch it. So that helps me learn the kids too with that drill. I can learn what they can and can't catch. Coaching points. I want to be comfortable. There's a million stances, there's a million videos you can get on what the perfect stance is. I want them comfortable. I don't care which foot they push off of. Load that foot a little bit. I want them coming off hard. I want them comfortable. Athletic stance. Some kids are more comfortable like this. I don't like to see hands hanging down. At least I want them up here. If we get tight man, which we don't get a lot, we get a heel to toe stance, a more receiver stance where they can be violent with their hands. But key the ball. My coach couch part. My rule is if you hear hut 27 times, then you can go ahead and move. Until it's 27, you don't jump. I think we may have had 1 or 2 the whole year last year, because in practice, we don't, even if my quarterbacks are running our bubbles, we're running our routes, we don't go on a snap count, we go on the ball. We don't say a word. And sometimes I'll give them one, but if they move, they're probably going to fix to run around the field. But that's one thing we try to make a habit of watching, seeing, going off the motion of the ball instead of going off the snap count of cadence. We want the high point, the noose, the hands together, the diamond, whatever you want to call it. I get so frustrated. I watch a lot of professional football. I get so frustrated when I see them drop the ball because they do this. Supposed to be the best players in the world. If they're taking this, if it hits right here, very few drops. If it hits right there, very few times do they get a drop. When you get it, go through there like this, and put the zip on it, unless you're a freak, it goes right through. If they'll get this, they'll get their arms bent, if they'll do that, you can make an average kid be a good catcher. Catch the ball. We do this same thing with our quarterbacks. Here, we want their hands right here because, and one of the things we teach, we take that noose to the ball, it's Franklin terminology, diamond, whatever you want to call it. If you will run and get a habit of taking your hands to the ball together, you will catch a lot more balls. I'll flip that on our tight ends. He did this about the 3rd time. I don't even coach him. I'll flip that one. At least try to take 2 hands to the ball, that's my comment. But he made a couple really good catches the next week. Oh, yeah. Because he stopped and actually turned around and took 2 hands to the ball. So that's one of the things. If we go to the ball, we do 5 push-ups. It's not going to kill a kid. If they're standing around throwing with each other, just jacking around and dropping, you'll probably see them do 5 push-ups because if Coach Wheeler walks by and he sees them just toss it back where they drop it, I'm fixed to hammer. We don't drop the football. We don't get that many passes thrown to us. But I think we had, one of the things we do stickers for, 100% catches. I think we got it 4 or 5 times this year. Didn't throw it 8 times. We caught all of them that we had a chance to catch. If our quarterback sails it 15 yard overs, but we do catch the ball pretty well. We include that, that's the sticker thing. I'm not a crazy sticker guy, but if you're going to use it, at least you can use it to help us. Take a noose to the ball. One of the things we do a lot of years, if we would drop in a game, we get 5 yards apart, we get a football, a jogging straight line or throwing it backwards when we catch it over and back. Now, just to emphasize how important it is to catch it, if we get a drop but a kid makes a great play and bails out my quarterback, we wipe the drop off. It doesn't take long, 10 minutes, it's not killing them. It just is to emphasize, it's something I came up with, I didn't actually steal that one. It's just to emphasize the importance. We do a couple of routes every day. This last year, we don't have like 2 kids that we ever going to throw the ball anyway. So a lot of times Kenny would take them in pod work the 2 routes we were going to run that week with those kids. Or, hey, I would take the other JV kids and we'd go learn how to run a smoke route. I threw a million balls this year. Sometimes I'll go with them and we'll send one of the defensive coaches with our kids. We do try to rep our JV kids down because if I got the varsity kids down there, a lot of times those kids aren't getting real reps. But we do, we'll have a ton of routes. We try to get good at what we do. Questions so far? Talk real fast. It's not real elaborate stuff here. I don't have a lot of, you've seen a lot of the stuff already. Kenny showed you on most of this stuff, the clip stuff of it. Every group of kids is different on blocking. We want to be physical. Some kids aren't going to be physical. There's not going to be. I've had years when I've actually had to calm kids down. Mean safeties that play X for me, we have to calm them down. Every group of kids is different. We always depends on those kids, like everything else we do. I'm sure y'all too. We want to be physical, we want to be smart. We don't want to hold. We block with our feet. One of the things we do in the summertime, we'll go to the 5-man sled, we'll slide down at athletics, and we're punching every pad as we get to it. Slide through it, punch that pad, be physical with our hands. We teach elbows out, we're tackling, elbows in, we're blocking. We get in the habit of thrusting into them. Some kids can naturally fit and not block. We do. If I've got a senior I trust, a physical kid, sometimes I will let them fit up in there and tight on the goal line. We don't do it if it's not on the goal line. Punch, move your feet. Stay in the way, get run over slowly, it's fine. Okay? We want to be physical. Our JV kids, we started a JV kid a lot this year. He wasn't real strong, but he would get in the way and he would at least get run over slowly. As a senior, his skill would probably be a good blocker for us. But he could do the job I needed. We do the mirror drill like the linemen do to learn to use our feet in blocking. No contact, and move your feet. We'll run at you, cut one way, cut the other. What else? We do go full contact in the summertime. Line up head to head. Deep back to back pedals 5 yards. He can come, the only thing he can't do to my blocker is bull rushing. Pick one side or the other. His job is to get to me, standing back there about 5 yards behind him. Whatever else he wants to do, he's got 4 to 5 seconds. We'll whistle dead. Win or loser. We try to always compete. Win or loser. That's very physical. Sometimes we'll get the 5-yard box, one-on-one. I don't care what happens in there. Every once in a while, not very often. Once we get the season, we're not being physical. I'm not going to get a kid hurt crack blocking in practice. But we do a lot of move, where's he go, get in front of him, stay in front of him, stay in front of him. We do a lot of talk, a lot of alignment, those type of things in blocking. Being in the right spot, being willing to get in the way, that's big for us in season. Knowing who to block, where they're going to be, getting where they're going to be. And getting kids to see that is a big one for us. In season, we run routes full speed, and then we usually take a little break in blocking, go about 3/4 or half, position, get in the right place. I don't want to hold.
On your block, are you guys primarily crack?
We're most dangerous. Okay, we primarily play at us. We're cracking,
Yeah.
but we do work straight ahead blocks with our X's a lot because we throw the bubble so much. We do with that, but our X is taught on blocking. He's blocking most dangerous. If I've got a corner, which we do see sometimes at 10 bailing, you know, in our routes we teach that. I want him to show me some hands and try to get that guy to back up a step or two. but our X is gonna block most dangerous. Of course, the jail, we run with X sometimes, didn't run it this year, we have a really good X runner, jail runner, 2-kick 1 on that. If our A is blocking, we take him, we're probably gonna be an out kick, but we wanna get in front, give our guys something to run off of.
And the following, like you say, take where he wants to go.
I'm not gonna fight that guy.
Okay, well, I'm gonna say, if he's trying to cross my face,
Drive him down.
yeah, I don't want it, yeah, okay.
Yeah, because,
Because I've always said if they escape behind, I don't care.
Yep.
Because my running back's gotta beat that.
yeah, he's gonna beat that, but we tell him wherever, if he wants to come across my face, that's fine. Get in him,
Yeah, I got buried.
bury him down, move him down. This year, I'm blocking with the, there's exceptions to every rule. I think we get the blocks here in a minute. Our 120-pound slot, he didn't block. He was willing to block if he knew the ball was coming at him. But he was not gonna give himself up and go crack block in hopes that the guy running it, which is where he wanted to be really, was gonna take the cutback. We took him out, here was his best block. We split him out and stacked him behind the X. Because he was gonna run a fast read no matter what we did. So let's put him out there, we threw it a couple times, and they had to honor him. He took that outside backer safety out of the box a lot of the times just because he was out there. That was his best block, is to get out of the way. Had to honor him. Okay? But as far as technique, we wanted to take him, be physical crack blocking, and just by going and running the crack blocking, we get a lot of crack and goes. Kenny talks to you about that. We get a lot of crack and goes on kids who couldn't beat me in a foot race over the top. Because it's wide open. That's why our completions are so good. They're wide open. Kenny's a great schemer, and I can teach him how to catch us a little bit.
Coach, is your cracking basically just jet sweep, right?
Now, we'll crack inside running us, in case of the block back. We'll crack, and our crack, typically for the A, if he's cracking, is gonna be to the first next level player. Sometimes it's outside backer, most of the time against us, the outside backer disappears. He goes on a run fit, and so it's usually the inside backer. If he disappears, we go on to the safety. Our X, he will angle at the inside backer, but a lot of times he's gonna get the safety. He's getting the safety too. And sometimes it's just, that safety is their best player. We're sending 2 people at him no matter what. We're gonna block him because he's the one who's gonna make the tackles. And crack is not old school crack, it's go down there and get in the way.
So in your drills, your EDD, well, you said if you get 5 minutes, you're catching the ball. If you get 10 minutes, you're blocking the second 5 minutes. And I'm assuming everything
Sometimes
you
it
have
ends
up
up being
there
2
is,
minutes.
so everything you have up there is not crack blocking, as far as your blocking.
No, not everything's not crack blocking.
So do you do crack and like pod work? I mean, how are you able to do that with yourself as far as splitting up crack versus
Different days usually.
different days?
Different days. And sometimes in our pod work, like if I've got my receivers and we're running fast in our pod work, we're blocking fast as well in that pod work. Now that's a live stuff. Typically the walk-through stuff, or 3/4 stuff, jog-through stuff, that we'll do every other day if we have time. And sometimes we do have time for it, sometimes we don't. Usually preseason stuff, summer stuff, I'll get a 5-minute period for blocking and a 5-minute period for a catch drill, and then we have our route stuff. But in season, guys, sometimes we don't block. In season, sometimes we don't run a lot of routes. We'll do both, depends on what we get coming that week. Did I answer your question? Sometimes I'm not really good at that. Other questions? How am I on time, Coach? Good, okay. Free snap rules, automatics, year to year, alignment, this year, like we said, the sophomore, he knew where to line up, he knew. And we try to, our receivers know X and A both, if they're smart enough. I've got some kids that just can't do it, so they have to be a specific one. We try to know both, we try to know how to align. We do the smart splits, very similar to what our line does. This year we talked about, we did a lot of stack. because we knew that A couldn't block and wanted him on the field. That helped us. 2 years ago, when that kid was here, we had a throwing quarterback. He lined up 50-50, split the difference, and he'd run the arc bubble because we could throw that. So we do the splits, we'll squeeze them. Personnel, we'll squeeze. If we're cracking, sometimes we'll squeeze that A down there. Personnel, put a bigger blocking guy in there. And yes, it's a tendency sometimes. Sometimes if we're shifting into it, honestly, sometimes Kenny just doesn't care. We're going to put that guy out there. We're going to crack down the backers. We're going to take the X. He's going to go to safety. All right, you're the guy in the armbands and the wristbands and the visor. Tackle our dude. Tackle our best kid because you don't want to. So sometimes we really don't care about four. We will squeeze them. We use the smart splits and don't care because it's usually an RPO off of it, or we just know that kid does not like to tackle and he's not going to want to tackle what's coming at him. Make him tackle us 2 or 3 times before doing anything else. But these are automatics. I love for my receivers, even if it's a pass play, talk out who they're blocking. Call out slant. Some years we're more successful with than we are others. This year, we had so many kids rotating that they didn't do it as much. And there's some battles that you're not going to win. I didn't fight that one. Typically, when we have the 2 kids who are more receivers out there, it's a more receiver look, and that's their 2 positions, that's their roles, they will do it better. And it does help us. We do go on and off the ball sometimes for different things. I like the X off the ball for throwing fast a lot. Then people say, well, that's a tail, and sometimes it is, but you also saw the A throwback from that very same look on the film he showed you. Oh, well, that's going to be screen. He got the X off the ball. We throw A throwback because they think that's going to be screen. That Hebrew film he showed with the A throwback, we had 6 touchdowns off of throwbacks that night. A got 2, X, Y, 6 touchdowns off of some form of throwback that night. So we do, depending on the kids. Last couple of years, I've not let them switch for any reason.
Your starting point, so for X is what, top of the numbers, bottom of the numbers?
This year was bottom of the numbers because we wanted to get them extremely wide because we weren't throwing that kid the ball. He was better taking those guys out there. A lot of our corners, they're going to walk out just inside him no matter where he's at. So we'll take him out really wide and stack him. Draw. If it's a kid that is a receiver, I won't take away his sideline there. I'll put him at the top of the numbers, sometimes a little bit in because I want to give him this sideline to work with. Just kind of depends on the kids. Run at you, we're going to crack. Most dangerous, usually it's going to be a crack block, sits up the crack and goes. Run away, a bubble, a plan route. Sometimes we'll crack anyway. A run away, and usually our pass plays are tags. Thank you, Coach. Usually our pass plays are tags. So my kids know, a lot of times they'll do a check with me. We're going to crack it anyway. A lot of times they know, oh, well, we didn't tag a backside route. He's not going to throw the bubble right here. Then we'll crack anyway. Other drills, we do the release drill, the foot fire, which like violent hands. The diamond release, we'll work that sometimes on the kids. Just get off. Find your way. Get open. There's some kids I can't teach a drill to because they just have natural hips and they're going to get off the ball. Some drills are like me and stiff and static, and I've got to find a way to get them off a press because they're a possession receiver. That's when we do the violent hands, foot fire, all this stuff, working the arms, the true diamond drive where you can come inside. We do all that depending on year to year. We do the 45, we used to call them cone cuts. I don't like cones. I hate cones. If I've got cones out there, that kid's going to reach to get to that spot. We use it like on the sideline, and we'll do 45s or 90s, sinking our hip, and I'll tell them, I don't think you go in front of it, behind it, make sure your outside foot's the one making the plant. The first day we'll do cones, so let's give an idea of generally what it looks like, and then we take the cones and throw them to the button. We don't use cones, because a kid will reach or they'll stutter at the cone. We don't teach stutter. The running backs are going to do that. Our kids are slow. We want them to take on a straight line and take on a straight line, because if we go a step out to go that way, that's a step slower we are. So we don't, but we do the 45 and 90 degrees. Sometimes it's a get loose drill, but we're really working on sinking our hips, ripping our elbow, planting our foot, and we'll usually not explode, we'll accelerate out of the cut, out of the 45 and 90 degree cut. The line quick catch, you saw that yesterday, right here. He flips, and I'm throwing the ball about the time his shoulder moves. That does two things. It makes him find the ball quick, but mainly it makes him do this. He's taking that noose, he learned to take that noose to the ball. We'll do that as a catch drill. It's not just a filler drill for us, there's a reason behind it. The pad level drill, the old dip and rip, we'll go that through the players. It's a move a line figure 8. We do that to avoid the linebackers and to teach them to get back up on top of the drill. So that's some things that we do from time to time. I try to add a catch in any drill I can do. If we're doing the figure 8, at the end of it, we're going to have somebody throw a ball and catch it. If it's a player, who gets there first. We try to add catches in as much as we can. Drops are always
What's
about
your
trips.
group numbers usually?
Group numbers?
Because you don't have freshmen, right?
No, we don't have freshmen.
3-year high school.
8, sometimes 6 to 8, and we just spread out and that line moves. When I go through the line, I go to the end of it, I come up 5 yards. We just go through that. And it all depends on if I've got the young ones with me, or if I just got the varsity with 6 to 8 kids. It's usually what we have. Routes, we like the bubble, the fast. We teach tunnel every year. The inside tunnel, gel screens, what we use it. That Kenny's he calls it laser now. The tunnel, the laser point, we're running inside to the A's a little bit quicker. We do run to the X if we have a kid that can run it. It just takes the right kid. Not necessarily fast, but they've got to be able to be moving towards the ball, make a catch on the move, and so it takes the right kid. Had that kid a couple of years. Bubble shoot, out, pop, hitch, the swizz, the in-out route. Those are a lot of short routes that we use. The medium deep out's my favorite choice, the choice sit. Probably run the curl out of the snag this year. The dig can be very, very good, depends on the personnel. We've not trusted our quarterbacks the last couple of years to throw that ball. Because if they throw it high, it's a pick. So we've not run the dig routes a whole lot. Long, we got to get creative. The wheel with the fullback was a big one for us this year. Both the cracks, the corners, or the crack corner or the vertical. The choice was big for us. And the post over, we got a good kid, we use that. The slug-o with the wind out with the running back a lot of times, motion to empty. We'll isolate him on the running back and just tell everybody else to run hitches. He's going to run and beat that kid. We've got to get very creative sometimes on the deep balls. Kenny's a schemer. I teach him to catch and try to teach him how to run a decent route. How's that pretty good? Question, I know I didn't give you a lot of pretty film, I didn't give you a lot of diagrams. He's got all that covered.
So what out of that big menu you just showed, and then that's what you said, so like any given game, you're doing this route.
Like on game week, we will figure out, okay, we think we're gonna run snag this week, we think we're gonna run the flood this week, and I'll focus on those routes with those kids.
Coach, could you share with us, I'm a defensive lineman, learning wide receiver play.
Been there.
Specific difference between bubble, tunnel, and, is it now screen?
Yeah. Bubble is gonna be the now or the fast to the A.
Okay, can you
Okay.
have some people line up there for us?
Yeah, sure. Who's gonna volunteer? Thanks, coach. My young guys here. Y'all split out that way. Yeah, he's the A. In a normal one, we'll treat the arc. That's when he will drop step and he will roll. Our quarterback is usually rolling. He can dump that or he can pull it for the run read. He's reading the outside, he's reading the pull and the D lineman to the outside
I'm
back.
sorry, that's the bubble or the now?
That's the bubble. That's the bubble screen. Now screen is the X. He's just gonna throw his hands, he's gonna square up, come back towards me a little bit, and I'm throwing at, we run this with typically a passing quarterback. A running quarterback, we usually don't run the now screen or the fast, we usually run the bubble because we're rolling with it. We can also run the A, go out and stack. We call this bubble, it's really just a now fast screen to the A.
Now, when you RPO it, you're not gonna have the quarterback roll out that way, though, right?
Yeah,
You will.
yes. Yeah, we're all real, he's running. Yep.
Go read the outside backer here.
Yes. He's reading the outside backer, he's running at him, if he bails, he's pulling it and running. Because he's already read the end squeeze down.
Uh-huh.
But, and sometimes it's pre-snap too. He looks out there and we've got a corner and a safety back there, he's snapping and he's throwing it right now. But some of our quarterbacks can't step and throw a fast screen. We can't do it. If he's rolling, he can throw it. But if he just turns and step and throw it, he couldn't make the throw. We were 50-50 at best with our quarterback this year, opening and throwing a fast screen. But he could hit the arc sometimes.
Okay, so, and how are you calling it when you bring a B or you bring an F to make it trips? You're still running now screens and bubble screens. That was in the playbook. I'm a little confused when you call 41, 42, 43.
They, like this year, if we go on the trips, we're throwing the ball to dude in the screen. And they know, okay, Seth's out there, we're getting to Seth. Okay, Gabe's out there, Seth's our F would be the number 2 option. Okay, if the A's there, if dude is there, he's the one, if we're in trips, he's getting the fast screen, the bubble, whatever you want to call it. He's getting the ball out there in trips.
And the bucket would be 2 bubbles.
Yeah.
He's the same receiver. If
Yes.
they want to throw the fullback in the trip,
It's
they
3
call that 3
bubble.
3 bubble.
But honestly,
1 bubble, 2 bubble, 3 bubble.
Well, there will never be a 1 bubble.
no, one's an hour on the fast.
But it'd be a
2
2
bubble,
or
3 bubble. This year, it didn't matter who was out there.
Throwing to the
We're throwing the dude.
Dude, yeah.
And our kids knew that.
When
We didn't have to call
said bubble, it was just to the dude.
Bubbles to our best dude. Good question, thank you. Anything else? Because I know I'm not very clear on a lot of things. Anything else we can clear up for you?
They had that same issue, trying to figure out what 41 was.
We used to have fast and like, laser, I will say that, the laser screen, we run it more the back this year, in a couple of years. We do run the inside laser. I love it, it's a big play, but you've got to have the guys. And sometimes it's not athletes. Some of our best ex-laser or ex-jail runners have been a medium athlete because he just times up his release and coming downhill. And you've got to have a tackle who can get their block space. A lot of times on screens, Kenny does we send our quick tackle with me and receivers, and our quick tackle will go through our blocking drills with our receivers, is to get your feet hot and get in the way. You ain't got to kill somebody. So it's an extreme game. A lot of times the tackles do come to me.
Quick tackle is always going.
Hmm?
The quick tackle is always going on the bubbles, on the owls, on
Nope. Just on jails.
just on jail.
Just on jails or the lasers.
Bubble,
The bubble, he's not-
He'd never be as active.
Everything else is going to be some kind of run action with an alert to it, if we know we're going to throw it. Everything is pretty much a run action with an alert to it. We're going to throw it. Guys, here's my info. Yell at me anytime you want to. Shoot me an email. I'll be happy to talk football with you. Give you a call. If you want to talk special team stuff, give me a call on that too. We haven't done anything down at his clinics. We may do something in the future. I will say this. Coach Denton, myself, and Coach Simpson, there's a philosophy in every game, and we include special teams into that. And it's been a big thing for us. We're very blessed that I guess I'm the guy that got stuck, or I'm the guy that got lucky. Most of my time, on weekends in study, I'm looking for that one weakness. Just like he's finding a weakness on offense, he's finding weaknesses on defense. I'm looking for that. And Kenny pumps up some stats. If you block a punt or return a punt for a big play, you're gonna win about 80% of your game, especially on a block. If you're able to put pressure, you're never gonna block at your point. If you can put pressure on that guy and freak him out a little bit, we had good kickers miss extra points this year against us because we were able to put pressure. We always have a return and a block in for every punt built in. So, but that's because he allows me the time to go and find that stuff. Go and find a weakness to attack. And so, we'll talk any of that stuff some other time, or now, you may yell, I'm probably about time we're over. So, thanks guys, appreciate y'all, good luck this year. He will put